Happy Friday night, Broncos country. I'm Bree Maestas here with Joey Richards, and this is Let's Talk Broncos. Joey, how are
LTB.
you?
I'm doing good. I accomplished some personal work stuff today, which was good. It's always, something about I always dread the hard work, but once you're done with it, it feels fantastic. So that was good. Accomplished some good stuff today. Yeah. How about you, Brie? How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, all things considered. I think it's been a great day. Yeah, looking forward to this Broncos game on Sunday. Frankie's jumping in already. What is up, lads and ladies? I don't know. I'll go with the lads thing. I like
Frankie.
that too. Hi, Frankie. If you want to get your questions and comments highlighted, you can jump on over to the YouTube or the Facebook stream. I'm going to link those below here in a second. If you're watching over on Twitter, thanks for joining us. But you got to jump over there to interact with the show like Frankie is doing right now. I want to address the elephant in the room, though. Zach's not with us tonight. Yeah, Joey.
We just had to. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. We were gonna come on here and say Zach was fired, but he's in the comments already. Great pod co-host, really. He couldn't make it today, but look at the support he's showing. Brie, you did a really good job, though.
I was trying to act forlorn. I actually do miss Zach, so I hope he's having a good time wherever he's at. It's just me and Joey, so if you want to throw in your bold predictions for Sunday's game against the Jets, please do so. We would love to hear from you. Frankie, that's on you, my dude. Like, let's go. He said, oh, I'm sorry. It's always gender fluid lads, dudes for me. I totally get it. I call everyone dude. That is what you're going to get from me. Joey, we probably shouldn't waste any more time, but let me get these links out here. I kind of want to start and talk about the Broncos injury report, and I just happen to have that uploaded. Zach also says, give us likes, you freeloaders. Yeah, if you're watching the stream, if it's on Twitter, if it's on Facebook, if it's on YouTube, like where you're at. Share it. I don't know. Tell other people who like the Broncos or don't like the Broncos and you want them to interact with us. That would be fun too.
Right.
Joey, what's your initial reaction to this final injury report prior to Sunday's game?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, obviously, it's been the huge talking point for everybody this entire week, but it's the Russell Wilson one and whether he's going to play or not. Obviously, questionable on the injury report, and I don't think we really have a clear answer, right? We don't have a clear answer. Usually limited throughout the week means that there's a good chance that he will play. But I'm not sure. I mean, I wouldn't put my money on it. He's questionable for a reason. And then obviously that one changes everything about the Broncos, right? It's the quarterback position. I have gone on and on and on and on about how important that position is. It's a position like no other in any sports where, I mean, we've seen it. Even this year so far, we've seen it. It's really hard to be a good football team when you don't have a quarterback. So, yeah, that's a big one to watch. Obviously, DJ Jones, huge for the run game in particular. Josie Jewell, another huge player for our defensive run. I don't know. I see a lot of questionable on there, but it is encouraging to see so much limited to end the week, I would say, instead of DNPs.
Yeah, it for sure does. There's some concerning things on there. I do see Wayne King over on Facebook saying, I just hope they show up. Maybe the Wolverine blood will show up if he plays. You know what, Wayne, I'm happy that you said that because I have something very special for you trying to queue it up right now.
I don't know if it's Wolverine blood or what, but
We have a soundboard now.
We have a soundboard.
Yeah, I'm currently lobbying for some certain sounds, but it has to be passed through Bree and Zach. So we'll wait and see how that goes. But yeah, we have a bunch on there.
Yeah, we do. And you'll see if you get to hear any of them because I do have control of the buttons tonight. Zach's not here and Joey's not allowed. What did show kind of stick out to me as well, you got full participant for Melvin Gordon, which I do want to talk a little bit about, Damari Mathis. And then some questionable and limited with Quinn Miners and Josie Jewell. Obviously, Josie Jewell's week to week. Although I am concerned, I'm glad you enjoyed that, Wayne. That was just for you. I'm concerned about a couple of things. How do you feel about Lloyd Cushenberry and his performance coming up on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be very excited about Lloyd Cushenberry to this point. We all thought, okay, for a rookie, when he was a rookie, it was like, we see the intelligence, some good things that we wanted to see there. But obviously looked like not a great player at the time, which is excusable for rookies, right? A lot of the time you can chalk up rookie season, you put them on a different grading scale, right? Because they're so new to the league. They're still adjusting. Now Lloyd Cushenberry, there's really not many excuses, and I haven't seen him progress like the way you want. He is still a lot of talk about him being so smart, which is a great trait to have at the center position. It's a position you need to be intelligent at. But you also need to be able to block effectively, and that's something Lloyd Cushenberry really hasn't been able to do when he's isolated. And Frankie and I were talking about this before. When he's isolated, it's so easy to push him back into the quarterback's lap, or sometimes he'll just kill you in the run game. There's a lot of stuff there, but it's not just Lloyd Cushenberry. It's been this entire interior offensive lineup to this point. He's just one piece of that hasn't played up to expectations.
Sure, I think that there could be a sticky situation there. We'll see how it turns out. You'll want to tune in to Saturday, as that'll be a special preview episode for Let's Talk Broncos. What's up?
Yeah, I guess, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Brie. I just wanted to add on to that, just saying like, hey, but for one of the positions when you're looking at, so the Broncos are missing a first and second round pick, right? This next offseason. Center is one of those positions where there's good centers that fall into the third round. It's not a premium position. It's not one that you'd want to draft in the first round, or it's rare ever that they're drafted in the first round, and they have to be damn good to be drafted in the second round. So third round centers, you can still get quality players. It's one of those positions that the Broncos could replace this next offseason with a rookie. And possibly even that rookie could play next year. So it just, I think when you're looking at that, running back, center, sometimes safety, nose guard, there's certain positions where you can get quality players in those rounds, and even guys that are ready to play right away.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we both know the actual elephant in the room is not knowing which quarterback is going to be under center coming up on Sunday. I know that that's a fluctuation that all of Broncos country has been watching. It'll be interesting to note when that news does come out. I believe, obviously, we'd have to know by tomorrow. But does it change the game at all for what you think will happen with which quarterback starts the game?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, me personally, I don't know. It's hard. I don't know what to expect from Russell Wilson on a week-to-week basis. Is the main issue I have a hard time answering this question. Is like, it feels like any week could be the week Russell Wilson just pops out and is like, oh yeah, I'm still Russell Wilson. But until we see that, it's just been not very good, if I'm just being quite honest with everybody here. And I think all of Broncos country relates to this. He hasn't played good up until this point. I think the Colts game and the last game were his two worst performances. Look at our comments. This is crazy.
I took care of it.
Thanks. Hey, shout out to you. Look at this. Brie does more than just talk Broncos, man. She's like the board behind everything here. But I don't even remember what I was talking about. That comment threw me off.
You don't know what to expect from Wilson week to week. And I think that's exactly. Like, okay, hopefully it'll turn around. All right, maybe these injuries are affecting him more than we thought they were. Okay, maybe it's not the injuries. Maybe it's coaching. A lot of what needs to be sussed out here against the Jets is exactly that. That's why I think a lot of Broncos country has been clamoring for Brett Rippon to get that start, just so we can actually isolate what the issue is. It's not saying that the play would necessarily be the guarantees to success, but it would eliminate some variables and get us on the right track again. I know that Broncos coaches have been basically locked in over at Dove Valley to try and work on a game plan that would get them out of this grave that they've dug. But I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know how to feel about Russell Wilson on a week-to-week basis either. I'm pretty optimistic, and for me to be a little checked out and be like, it can't get worse, throw Brett Rippon in. I know, there's questions of his longevity and why he's not, a starting quarterback, and there's a reason for that. He's a really valuable backup quarterback, which is why the Broncos have, stuck with him. I know they're saying they're also looking at Josh Johnson, but I think that there's at least, if your quarterback is hurt, if Russell Wilson has both a hamstring and a lat tear, and he needs a little time off to recuperate, the worst case scenario isn't putting Brett Rippon in order to buy more time. But I don't know. I don't know how to make a bold statement out of that other than we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell. Like I was saying before, we had an interesting comment in our chat. I got completely sidetracked. Was just I think you hit it on the head, Breeze. It's hard to exactly project what Russell Wilson is going to be week to week, just because it feels like any week could be the week where it's just like, oh, Russell Wilson's this guy we traded for, right? Or that's just the fan in me wanting that to happen so bad that it feels like it. But yeah, I would say that obviously I think you'd want Russell Wilson to play. I think all the reps that you can get out of the guy to this point is wanted and needed, right? Like you want more Russell Wilson reps. So I just want to figure this thing out. If it's a reps issue, if it's a Hackett and Russell Wilson meshing this thing together issue, I don't know what the issue is, but I think reps helps us find a clearer answer on what's going on exactly, I guess.
Wayne also echoes that sentiment, saying if Rippon plays, it will be a good assessment whether it's Russ at QB or and QB. Yeah, and I guess we'll find out when we do get that news. We'll bring it to you. We'll have, like I already said, another episode tomorrow, breaking down basically a preview of what's to come. But tonight we're going to go into some Broncos bold predictions. I asked for a couple on Twitter, so if you are watching over on Twitter and you'd like to get those answered or highlighted, go ahead and jump on over to the YouTube or the Facebook stream so we can get your bold predictions and then we'll react to them. I did want to grab Zach's real quick because he was able to give us one for tonight. My bold prediction is Brett Rippon over 250 yards, 2 TDs, and the Broncos win. Joey, how do you feel about that one?
Yeah, so I'm assuming Zach means if Brett Rippon is the starter, right?
Or we have insider
or
information.
Did he do it off the bench? That'd be crazy. Brett Rippon over 250, 2 touchdowns and a win. That I'm definitely taking this bet. That Jets defense is really, really good. And it's crazy we're all sitting here talking about it, but Sauce Gardner looks terrific. That defensive line looks terrific over there. They have a lot of good players. I think, and Bree, you were talking about the game before we started here. You were talking about the game, and you were like, "This is going to be a really low-scoring game." I agree with you. I think this is going to be a very low-scoring game. If Brett Rippon comes out here and throws for 250 and 2 tuds, I'm going to be so ecstatic. I'm taking Zach Seegers on that one, without any doubt.
It would tell us a lot, and I think all of Broncos country would be shocked. There would be no delay in my jumping onto Twitter to let the world know exactly how I feel after that happens. But I don't know. It's super bold. And Zach's got ahead and put it on Twitter. So if you have any more bold predictions and you're looking at his, like, what? We want to hear him too, because nothing is off limits here. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's some things that are off limits. The chat gets a little. We already blocked some chatters tonight. But as long as you play by my rules, you'll stick around. Want to thank everyone who's over there interacting right now. Shouts out to you. Sammy Castro. Over on Facebook said, I think you're right, Bree. This has to be the time to rest up Russ, just because we also have a bye coming up. Yeah, I think that that's as logical as you can get with this situation. At the end of the day, Hackett's supposed to make that call, so we'll see what he says in regards to that. But Russ does have that Wolverine blood. I don't like saying that. I'm really sorry.
It's crazy. I won't even lie to you.
Cue up the soundboard. All right, let's get to I didn't even answer that. I don't know. I'm going to go back to Zach's comment real quick. Brett Rippon over 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a win. The Broncos have had 5 touchdowns. So Russell Wilson has had 5, right? All year? Is it 5 or 6?
I believe it's 5.
Yeah, so 5 touchdowns, and we're going to say that you put in the backup quarterback and you get 2 touchdowns out of him. I will lose my absolute shit. So I want this to happen, but also I don't know what it says for the rest of the season. I'm going to take the bet. 250 yards is a lot against the Jets defense, like you already said. I think it's going to be a super low scoring game. I said that prior to us going live anyways. And by low, I mean, like, we'll be lucky to see any touchdowns. This is going to be Thursday night football-esque. So I'm going to throw that out there, and you'll get our predictions on Saturday, but I'm going to take Zach's bet. I don't think it's happening. Pretty bold. Troy Sandoval says, I bet Russ will start the game. All right. I'm going to consider that a bold prediction. Because a lot of the time when you talk about something not happening and you keep referencing that you're still unsure, like a no is an answer too. So because they haven't said anything yet, I don't feel very confident in Russ starting this Sunday. And I think that leaves the Jets kind of scrambling to prepare for a different quarterback. So I think that it works both ways, and there's a chance that he does start. There's a good possibility, but there's also a good possibility that Brett Rippon starts. So I don't know if you wanted to add on to that.
Yeah, I do. I just think that, like, if the injury is really a factor in, like, it feels like it's being portrayed and why Russ isn't playing very good, sit him until he's good. I mean, this is a guy, that's why, I don't know. If he plays, I get it. Like, all football players want to play, right? Like, they're tough dudes. We all know about this about NFL football players, is that your body, it just takes a toll. So I'm not blaming Russ for it. But if this, you sacrifice 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 3 players for this quarterback, get him on the field healthy. That's when we want to see him. We want to see a healthy Russ. The season already isn't looking as great as we thought it would be. I would rather Russ finish the season strong and give people a little more confidence in what this offense can do than just, I don't know, I guess have an excuse going into the offseason of like, hey, well, he wasn't healthy. I want to know for sure whether what we have here.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of unanswered questions. I think that's kind of the storyline. It's not the storyline that you want to look out for when you're a team that's put in this position, but unfortunately, that's the one that we have right now. Yeah. I want to pull Frankie's bold prediction before we get into ours. Quinnen Williams over 1.5 sacks. This morning, Twitter was alight, kind of questioning Lloyd Cushenberry going up against Quinnen Williams, and because Quinn Miners isn't available to step in there, looking for probably that to happen. Like I would 100%. I'm not taking the bet because I think that's probably going to happen.
I might take the bet just because. So if this was a pressures thing Frankie threw out there, I don't think I would take it. I'm going to take it because there's just so much luck that goes into a sack. Like, good defensive linemen play bad offensive linemen all the time. Not all the time do they finish with two sacks in those games. You know what I mean? Or 1.5 sacks. But to Frankie's point, I just want to add on to Quinnen Williams. The guy is a monster, man. And I'm so happy. I guess I'm not happy to see him going against the Broncos this week, but I'm happy to see it. Like, this year, it really feels like the guy's pulling it all together from what we saw at Alabama, where I was literally thinking like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be an absolute problem in the NFL. And we're really seeing it this year. Quinnen Williams is a monster, and it's anybody on that Broncos interior offensive line is going to have a problem with him. Reisner, if Quinn plays, he's going to have a problem with Quinnen Williams. You mentioned Lloyd. Lloyd's going to have a serious problem with Quinnen Williams. Like, Quinnen Williams is that good. He's a really, really good football player.
He absolutely demolished Aaron Rodgers. He had 2 sacks against him in that game. He has 5 total on the season, 1 forced fumble, and 22 tackles. I am a little afraid of that man. So I don't think it's impossible. And
no, definitely not.
I don't really know how the line stacks up for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, but I think that that's been something that's been touted as not that great. So that could contribute to it. And Denver is having some issues of their own. They're on the line. Wayne has a really nice comment here. I'm going to throw this up as we start to segue into what our bold predictions are. I'm not going to read all of it out there, but I do agree, Wayne. Thanks for chiming in. We appreciate you interacting with us here on Let's Talk Broncos. And you're more than welcome to jump on in. If you're over on Twitter, again, please go over to Facebook and or the YouTube stream and get your questions and comments highlighted. You can give us your bold predictions. We're going to give you ours. Joey, I want you to go first. What's your bold prediction for Sunday?
Okay, this one, it's bold. It's bold, but this is the bold prediction segment, right? I wouldn't be throwing it out there if it wasn't bold. So we had a rookie cornerback go out there. He's replacing Ronald Darby. The name of Damari Mathis really, really struggled last week. Now, I'm not going to put any bold prediction on PIs or how many yards he's going to give up or whatever, right? But I do think, or I'm not going to say I even do think, but my bold prediction or the bet that I'm willing to throw out there is that he's going to have a turnover this game. That's my bet right now. I think Damari Mathis forces a turnover this game. I think he's clearly, and we saw it last week, he's clearly going to be the one out there that the Jets are going to target. We saw it last week. They're not going to go throw at Pat Surtain when Damari Mathis is over here. That's just not going to happen. He's going to get plenty of opportunity to get a turnover. Something I wanted to throw out there from what I watched, man, that play he had, I think it was overtime. It was a third down, and it was the first punt that the Chargers had to do. It was like a little zig route, and Damari Mathis caused a PBU on the play. For everything that happened leading up to that, where it was like he's been flagged 3 times, he's getting torched out there. For him to come out and still make a big play despite all of that shows me something. It does. It tells me something. Because how many times, I mean, we saw with Ojemudia in this preseason, we were like, when he started getting torched, we were like, oh, I think just at this point, he's in his own head. Damari Mathis came out and showed, no, I'm going to still come out here and play good ball despite all of that. So that showed me something. And I mean, is it a big blow we lost Ronald Darby? Clearly, I think this Damari Mathis thing might be a bit of an issue going forward, at least for this season, but he showed me enough, and he's shown me enough so far where I'm excited for him past this season, right? And that's something you have to keep in your head with rookies in particular.
Yeah, he's necessarily showing traits that can be worked on. A lot of interference calls can be something that's just like, hey, they're going to be watching your hands and you need to adjust. I did like a couple of plays that he had, and you referenced that pass breakup that I thought was absolutely beautiful. It's just a shame that he got picked on to the rate that he was. And I feel like there was a little bit of a warning there to the officials, either to start the game or in the middle of the game, that was like, he's handsy. And so I feel like that probably contributed to that as well, right. Which was frustrating to see. Penalties were the story of the last game. And also a part of that story as well was how the game ended. That muffed punt for Montreal, Washington, where PJ Locke stepped into him, just doing what he needed to do in order to block for him, created quite the, I'm not even going to say comedy of errors. It wasn't funny. It was terrifying. It was absolutely horrifying. And what I'm going to hope for is that Montreal, Washington has a gigantic game this Sunday against the Jets. And I'm talking taking one all the way to the house as a punt returner. I think it's time. Montreal, Washington is something very special. Not only is he quick, but he's so smart. Just this quickly to be a rookie, obviously coming in and making the case for himself as he's already done. So they do trust him with the ball. And although that you'll see on the stats line there with 3 fumbles, you got to remember a lot of that situational stuff it isn't as bad as it looks. I have a lot of faith in Montreal, Washington. My bold prediction is that he has a punt return for 6 points.
Ooh, I like that one, Bree. I'm going to still take it. I'm going to take it just because punt returns for touchdowns are so rare. But boy, is it fun. I mean, that's a fun bet to have. I feel like the payout on this bet for you, if it hits, Bree, is really good. You're going to get a nice payout for the Montreal, Washington for a touchdown. Like I said, I'm going to take it because of the just how rare it is to happen. But, in a game where I feel like there is going to be a lot of punting coming from both sides of the ball, Montreal should get his fair shot, his fair share of opportunities. That's a fun one. I like it.
Thank you, Joey, for that. Sam Castro says, "I just want to win, please." That's another bold prediction. I kid.
It's a bold prediction at this point.
I really hope that we get a win too. Both Joey and I will be in attendance, so I think that we want to see a Broncos win, because I don't like to leave Mile High Stadium and people be sad. It makes traffic that much more worse. So yeah, absolutely. I hope they can get a win too. Wayne had a comment to your Damari Mathis. I think it's Damari Mathis comment. Dude, at least he doesn't seem to always be in hot pursuit. That's actually pretty good. I don't see him getting too toasty out there as far as being completely out of position. I think that he's just honestly too early. Joey?
Yeah, it's like, it's something Frankie brought up in our halftime spaces this last week, was that it's was an issue coming for him out of college. He was a grabby corner, and that's something you have to coach out, or with more reps, hopefully improves at it. But he's always been kind of a grabby corner, and he's a rookie. And by the way, a rookie that was not drafted to be getting significant playing time this year. Like, I don't think you draft a quarterback in the round he was to go say, you're going to go play like the majority of the season and start. That was never the plan for him. It's kind of, I don't know. You want him to play good because he's out there starting, but you feel for the player too, because it's unfair to ask him to be out there starting and playing at a high level, or having to live up to what Ronald Darby was doing this season, because Ronald Darby was playing so terrific up until his injuries. It's a shame.
He was playing really well, and I think that's just the way that the wind has blown for the Denver Broncos. Injury bitten once more. It started early. They're in training camp, and it just seems to be injuries happen, obviously, in the NFL. It's a contact sport, but you have so many freakish injuries happening, some really frustrating ones, some ones that have taken positions that where we thought we had reasonable depth at, and just throwing them completely on their head. It's been a little frustrating. I did want to point out that you can find Frankie on Twitter at Frankie's Film. Tremendous follow over there if you want to look at some film breakdown from each game. He usually selects a player after each Broncos matchup and then highlights the good, the bad, and everything in between. You can also find him on Twitter for the spaces during the halftime with Joey Richards. Not only is he a guest in our chat, but he's a great follow there for Broncos analytics, films, and everything in between. And he's kind of funny. So go ahead and follow him over there. Frankie, we appreciate you very much. Joey, what's your second bold prediction? I'll get mine out, and then we'll get you all on your way.
Okay, yeah, this is my back-to-back rookie bold predictions here. I am going with Greg Dulcich. Greg Dulcich gets over 4 receptions on the day. What do we think? Is that bold enough? Chad, is that bold enough? I need someone to let me know. I'm going four receptions on the day. I mean, when you watch the film from last week, he should have got the ball a lot more. He should have. Maybe with a different quarterback, maybe with more practice time, because it was so crazy that he was out there. They sat Albert O for him, and then they're just like, yeah, you're ready. Get out there. It was crazy. The whole situation was crazy. I have to give credit where credit's due, in the fact that he clearly really studied the playbook and was really ready for this. For the coaching staff to trust him in that situation, missing all the time he has, and they're just like, yeah, you're going to play. It's a crazy thing. So, yeah, I have Greg Dulcich going over 4.
You know I'm in on that bet, so I'm not going to take it because I absolutely want to see that happen. Greg Dulcich was the shiny star. I didn't know how to anticipate it, but when that first touchdown hit, I was absolutely ecstatic. Dulcich Hive is hyped up. I'm ready for it to happen again. I absolutely love the player, love what he brings to this team, and you hit it right on the freaking head, is if the quarterback, whoever it's going to be out there, actually sees him wide open out in that field. It could be something very special that I want all of Broncos country to be watching out for. Joey, I think it happens. Sammy Castro's in the chat saying make it 5 catches, 1 touchdown for the rookie tight end. I love that one too. I'm in on it. I want to see it happen. Back-to-back touchdowns would be absolutely crazy. But what do I want to highlight is that Dulcich was able to do that in front of 30 members of his family and friends in California at the previous game, which I think is very special. It's all about momentum. It's the human element. You've trusted this rookie after all this time on the IR to come in, know exactly what he needs to do. He said, thankfully, his teammates have kept him prepped and ready to go. And now it's his time to shine. Whether or not he steps into that remains to be seen. But you saw how valuable he was out on that field, both in a blocking aspect and in a receiving aspect. So as a target, he is invaluable for either Russell Wilson or Brett Rippon. And I hope to God he gets at least 5 catches for a touchdown for the rookie tight end. Samuel, thanks for putting that in there. Jess Tiss over on YouTube says, I'm in. Well, Jess, thanks for joining us. I think you're a new name I haven't seen before. So I really appreciate you stopping in and interacting with the show. She also wanted to point out the touchdown for his first game. Why not? Yeah, why not run it back? That's what I want to see. I'm honestly mad at myself that I didn't make that one of my bold predictions, but I think most of Broncos country would have called me a little bit biased if I did. So I'm glad everyone else is here on the Dulcich train. Frankie Abbott says getting him 41 snaps with the next highest tight end at 16 was very unexpected. It was absolutely unexpected. I did not expect to see that. Is that a note to the tight end group? Is that a note to the player favorability of Nathaniel Hackett? I'm not sure.
I think it's how much the coaching staff loves Greg Dulcich. It was obviously this is the staff that drafted him. None of these other tight ends were guys the Broncos drafted. Like, they just weren't. These are guys that the other regime had brought into place. And now the Broncos had their shot at getting their own guy in there, and that's what they're going to do, is what it feels like. I don't know if people remember this, but Greg Dulcich wasn't really practicing in training camp either. And despite all of that, when that first depth chart came out, they had Greg Dulcich tight end 1. And what we're seeing now is that same thing. We're seeing that exact same thing. He comes in off an injury, missing all that time, hasn't got any snaps. I mean, him and Russell Wilson on the same page, throw that all out. We're starting this guy and we're sitting Albert O. That's what the coaching staff said.
What's crazy to me is we talk so at depth of how long the tight end position actually takes to learn and to master and to become really great and versatile at. And obviously, I'm not saying that he's there. He doesn't look like a 5th-year tight end, but he's going to be there pretty soon. I think that that's testament to at least what this coaching staff thinks that they can do. I'm sure Justin Outen has some say in a lot of that, but I'm excited to see what he does with his career. And I hope it's at least a Bronco for a little while longer, because I don't know what's going to happen after the season, folks. And I don't think many of us do. There's a lot of things that could, but I would assume since they drafted him, they're going to want to keep hold of him. That's a lot of return on investment there. I am going to give mine real quickly. And then while I'm talking, please feel free to put yours in the chat if you want to get yours read before we close out this episode. I'm going Zach Wilson, less than 150 passing yards, no touchdowns, and he will throw at least 1 interception. Although the Jets defense is great, I need to also preface that their offense is not. Zach Wilson, not looking too great. I would hope that our defense, as talented as they are, as hungry as they are, and being home is really going to facilitate a big defensive game. They're going to keep them to a very, very low scoring venture here. And that's why I think that the Broncos defense has a really great chance to show out. The Packers defense, I think, kept him to like under 120 yards. He really hasn't been showing a lot of promise. I do not want this to be a Zach Wilson get right game, but I'm going to bet strongly against it. Joey, are you taking or leaving that bet?
I'm going to take the bet just because there's so many. It's like 3 bets in one. Right. So I'm going to take it because of that. It's like you already have like a parlay going in one bet for me. So I'm going to take it. But, I mean, do I think Zach Wilson's going to go out there and just have a dominant game? No, I don't think that. It's just the fact that there's so much that goes into that. I have to take it. It's just the smart thing to do. Zach Wilson is one of those quarterbacks that he has a lot of flash to him. Where it's like, oh man, if we could hone that in consistently, and if we could get that consistency, It'd be an awesome quarterback. We just haven't seen it to this point. We just haven't. It's something that's going to develop. I don't know if anyone here follows my draft work. I wasn't the biggest Zach Wilson guy coming out of the draft. But yeah, it's kind of what I've seen. Just a little all over the place. But that also means he's a wild card. So who knows?
No, that's exactly the hesitation that I have going into this as well. Is like, I know what I've seen, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to turn it around. There's a lot of unknowns going into this game. At the start of the season, the Jets were a game that I thought the Broncos could have pretty easily. And now I'm very concerned as to what's going to happen. It's probably a tie game going into overtime. Late into a Sunday that I wasn't prepared for. I do want to get to some of these comments, but I appreciate you being honest with me there, Joey. It is a parlay in one. I'll probably find a bet very similar and place that as well. Also looking at that Greg Dulcich TD, I think it's at like plus 350 for at least one, or 375, which, it's not terrible. Anytime touchdown score. Jess says, my bold prediction is an offensive TD in the first quarter, a defensive TD in the second half, and a dub. Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go. That'd be exciting.
That would be exciting. I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm going to take that bet because I don't know how I feel about this offense, but it could be worse. And I really love that you were able to put that out there so boldly. A defensive touchdown is everything. My dreams would be made. I would be a super happy camper. Thank you, Jess, for chiming in and giving us your prediction. I think Wayne also had one that made me laugh. Prediction, depending on which QB plays, we have 9 punts again. I don't want to see 9 punts.
I never have done the negative bets. Maybe I come next episode with one of those.
I think you do. I think our question of the day should also be super negative next time. Like, we should just absolutely have a terrible time with all of it. Frankie also said, and I hear you, Frankie, they hate every other player from the previous regime. If Josh Johnson touches the field before Rip, I riot. I hear you, Frankie. Thank you for chiming in. I love that, Jess. Okay, well, that's fair. We all do that. Wayne says, I think the Jets offense can be held by our defense. Jets defense is tough as well. Will be who wins on defense. And that's the story of the Denver Broncos this season, folks. Defense is carrying the team. I'd like that to shift a little bit so that there's not all of the onus on the Denver Broncos defense, but they're that damn good. If they're able to do so and they're going to hold the Jets to, 6 points, I hope we score 9. Sammy Castro said, I predicted the Denver defense as a whole unit to have 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, and 4 sacks. The Broncos win 2010. That's incredible, Sammy. Thank you for chiming in there with your bold prediction. I don't know how I feel about the Broncos winning 20-10. That's a high score for me. 4 sacks, though. I totally see it happening. 2 fumble recoveries. I don't think they've had that many chances to do so. With Randy Gregory out, I don't know how high the potential is for having.
I want Randy Gregory back so bad, but let's just. I love Randy Gregory.
I know, me too. I'm not taking. I'm going to take that bet. Seems a little rich for my blood, even though I am a degenerate and will be betting some money on this game. Like I said, Joey and I will be there, so you'll get a recap from us. Zach will be back tomorrow for the preview game for Let's Talk Broncos. You guys have been incredible. We appreciate you so much. Joey, where can they find your work?
Yeah, everybody, make sure you're following me at JR Drafts on Twitter. That is at JR Drafts. Make sure you're giving me a follow. I tweet, came up through NFL draft stuff, so that's why the name. I do Broncos stuff, and I also joke around a lot on Twitter. And then you can find my writing at Mile High Sports.
Frankie gets one more thing in while we're trying to end the show. Nuggets under 55 wins. Frankie,
that's crazy.
Nobody likes you.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Frankie, I mean, we get along and all, but one thing I do have to say is this is a crazy take. I'm just kidding. Actually, 55 wins is a lot. 55 wins. Anyways, we can carry on.
He also said, whoa, no question of the day. Joey, I skipped over the question.
Here's the issue with the question of the day right now. Zach Seeger is now fired from the Let's Talk Broncos podcast. Just throwing it out to one person is crazy. It's nuts. I need another co-host here. So we're not going to do that right now.
Okay.
Once Zach gets back from suspension, we'll get it back going.
Yeah, once he's off of his one show suspension, he'll be back. You'll be able to do trivia and have fun with your dumb questions, with your stupid answers. Um, Jess says, love your show. Y'all must live stream when you're not at the game. So Jess, we come to you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday during the season. We take Thursdays off for Thursday night football. You can catch us 5 days a week, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. I would love if you could stop by again. So please subscribe and like the stream so you can find us. If you're over, it looks like you're on YouTube. So subscribe to the Mile High Sports YouTube page, and you'll see us every time we're on. We'd love to have you back. Great, absolute episode where I really appreciate everyone chiming in, because Zach's not here to fill in the gaps and talk forever. Zach's suspended for banned substances. Yeah, unfortunately. I wouldn't even doubt that. That wouldn't be strange to me. Be safe, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. You too, Sammy. I really appreciate you chiming in. We love to have you here on the show. Guys, I'm going to end it here. I'm Brie Maestas. You can find me over on Twitter, Brie Maestas 303. You can catch me on the Fan Cave 1 to 2 p.m. on Mondays and sometimes on Wednesdays. That's on Mile High Sports Radio. And then here with the Let's Talk Broncos crew. We love you. We appreciate you. Let's go Broncos. Good night.
Good night. Yeah.